Hello, I'm Georgia Churchill, the storyteller. I tell tales that were told a long time ago, and today it's a Chinese story called Brother Black. You know, a long time ago, if people wanted to hear music or hear a storyteller or see a play, they had to have the people that were performing right there in front of them because radio, television, that kind of thing hasn't been around for very long. 100 years if you go for radio, 150 at the most. But there were all those thousands of years before that when people had to have someone in front of them for entertainment. Now, you know that China is a great big country. And a long time ago, people used to go from village to village to put on plays, to do acrobatics, to juggle, to have animals trained to entertain the villagers. And the man I'm going to tell you about took black snakes from village to village. Black snakes are not poisonous. And he would travel with 2 black snakes in a great big basket with a lid on it. And if the people, he trained the snakes to crawl all over him in fancy patterns. And if the people liked it, they'd pay him either in money or in food. That's how he earned his living. And at the time I'm telling you about, he had 2 black snakes. One was quite large, almost too big for the basket, in which case he would turn it loose and it could live the rest of its life as a free black snake. And then he'd capture another little one and start training it. Well, after he let the great big black snake free, he still had the one, medium-sized one, in the basket. And that was the smartest black snake this man had ever trained. Oh, it could learn its tricks so quickly, and it almost made up its own tricks. And it was unusual for a black snake in that it had a red spot right between its eyes. The man called him Brother Black. And he knew that he should capture another baby black snake and start training it, but I don't know. Brother Black was such a nice snake, and he was so much fun to work with, and it was just, the man never got around to capturing another baby black snake. One night he was at a perfect place, a good place for him to sleep, and he could take the lid off the basket, and Brother Black could go crawling around, because Brother Black always came back. But this time, come morning, Brother Black hadn't come back. So the man waited until the sun was high in the sky around noon, and still no Brother Black. So the man very sadly picked up his empty basket and started walking away. But then, after only a few steps, he heard behind him the sound of a snake crawling through the grass. He whirled around and said, "Brother Black, you came back!" But Brother Black stopped. And this man, he understood black snakes. He'd been working with them since he was a boy. And so he turned around and acted as though he was walking away again. He heard behind him, and this time he just looked over his shoulder, but Brother Black stopped. So the snake man kept walking on ahead, and he heard the of the snakes crawling through the grass, and he just kind of moved his eyes to look over his shoulder, and there was a little baby wild black snake following Brother Black. So the snake man, moving very slowly and quietly, the way you must when you're dealing with shy wild animals, got a piece of snake food, went over to the little baby black snake and offered the food to it. But the little baby black snake was so shy that it just coiled up and it wouldn't take the food. So the snake man gave the food to Brother Black, and Brother Black gave the food to the baby black snake. And Brother Black crawled into the basket, and little baby black snake crawled right in after him. And do you know that baby black snake was just as smart as Brother Black? Oh, The tricks those snakes could learn, it was wonderful. The snake man had never earned so much money as he traveled from village to village, and the years went by, and Brother Black grew bigger, and he was almost too big for the basket, and Baby Black was certainly not a baby anymore. But when they came to the western mountains of China, the snake man decided this was a good place to set Brother Black free. He took the lid off the basket. Now came Brother Black. And the snake man said, Brother Black, you have been such a good snake. I have had so much fun working with you. But now you're too big for the basket, and it's time for you to go live wild and free. Brother Black went crawling off, but then Brother Black came crawling back. Go on, said the snake man. It's time for you to be free now, Brother Black. Brother Black went crawling off, and then Brother Black came crawling back. Go on, said the snake man. Go on, it's time for you to live free now. Brother Black went crawling off, but then Brother Black came crawling back, and he knocked his wedged head against the basket. And the snake man said, Oh, Brother Black, you want to say goodbye to Baby Black. He took the lid off the basket, and out came Baby Black, who was certainly not a baby anymore. And those snakes coiled around each other and flickered out their tongues. And then Brother Black went crawling off, and Baby Black went crawling after him. The snake man waited, and pretty soon Baby Black came back. But it looked to the snake man, who understood snakes, as though Baby Black were pouting. But he crawled back into the basket. And pretty soon, the snake man captured another little baby wild black snake who was a perfectly good snake, just not fabulously smart the way Brother Black and Baby Black had been. And the years went by, and the snakes kept growing, and the man kept traveling from village to village in China until he started hearing rumors, people saying, Over in the western mountains of China, there's a terrible black snake that chases down people and kills them and eats them. And the snake man said, Oh, that's ridiculous. I've been working with black snakes since I was a boy. Black snakes don't do that. And he kept on traveling around China until after a few more years, he came to the western mountains and started climbing up them. The people said, No, don't go there. That's where a terrible black snake lives. He runs, it chases down people and kills them and eats them. And the snake man said, That's ridiculous. No black snake would do that. And he kept on climbing. But he hadn't gotten too far up the mountain when he heard a crashing in the bushes behind him. He looked behind him, and there was a great big black snake crawling after him, and whoa, the snake man panicked. He couldn't think clearly. Holding his basket, he started running as fast as he could, and he heard the crashing behind him, and he looked behind him, and the snake who was chasing him had a red spot between his eyes. The snake man whirled around and said, Brother Black! It was Brother Black. He stopped and he flickered his tongue in and out because that's how snakes smell. And then he came crawling over to his old friend and started crawling around on him in the patterns and designs that they used to do when they worked together. But now Brother Black was so big and heavy that the snake man fell to the ground under his weight. He said, Oh, Brother Black, you're too heavy, get off. So Brother Black crawled off. And then the snake man said, Brother Black, listen, Baby Black's almost big enough to turn free. Would you two snakes like to live wild together? He took the lid off the basket, and out came Baby Black, who was certainly not a baby anymore. Those snakes coiled up together and flickered their tongues out, and then they started crawling off together. The snake man said, Hey, you snakes! The snakes lifted up their heads and turned. Don't you be killing people. If you chase down people and kill them and eat them, people will come and destroy you. There's plenty of food in these mountains for black snakes. And the snakes hung their heads. And then they lifted their heads up again and went crawling off together. And when they both crawled over the same branch of a tree, their combined weight was so great that the branch broke. But they kept on crawling off, and the snake man watched them until the tips of their tails had disappeared. And he never saw them. Never saw them again. Thank you for